Okay, Georgia loses 41-26, but I gotta say it wasn't like Georgia was really out there today. It seemed like on offense. The teams that played today, Missouri was a better team. In terms of who will be the better program by the end of the year, it's probably going to be Georgia. But Missouri, didn't look bad. I don't know what the status of James Franklin is. He obviously was hurt. For Georgia, look, they need Todd Gurley. They're going to need, Jonathan Rump. They're going to need Michael Bennett. They're, because otherwise they're not Georgia. And if they're not playing with the full deck of cards, then there's no reason to expect them to win. And, I expected them to win, don't get me wrong. But let's not act like those guys being out doesn't have a lot to do with it. 4 turnovers, way too many. And this defense is an unmitigated disaster, particularly when it comes to getting turnovers. Now, are they better than they were at the beginning of the season? Yeah. Are they going to get better? I think so, too. Let's not ignore the fact that they're very young, And they slowed Missouri down. It just didn't look like it on the scoreboard. And that's the only part that matters. You got the fumble return off a sack for a touchdown. That's no good. I think if Georgia had tied the game, that may have made too much momentum for Missouri to withstand. But as it turns out, and you got to give Missouri credit, no question. With 12 minutes to go in the game could have been tied, was not. Missouri was only up 2. And then Georgia's defense just couldn't get off the field when they had to. They've done it in the recent past. They've done a good job of getting off the field when they needed to. Obviously the game winner against LSU on this side of the field. I don't know if they forced the fumble against Tennessee, but it happened while they were out there, and you get credit for that. But they're going to have to play a lot better in big moments. I think they're not getting run up and down the field. They're getting a third down, and they're not getting off the field. That's the issue, and that's obviously money down. That's the part they got to clean up. I think they can clean that up. I think they played a lot better in the second half than they did in the second quarter. The second quarter, Missouri, that's when they got momentum and an 18-point lead. Now, that was not all on the defense. Look, again, this is just the better team today was Missouri. I don't think there's much question about that. But Missouri wasn't facing Georgia. They were facing a group that certainly had on G's and silver britches, etc. And the defense was Georgia. But the offense was not Georgia. And the turnovers really hurt Georgia. Even if they get 3 points right here at the end of the half to cut the lead from 18 to 15 at the end of the game, that would have made a big difference. They'd have had a point or a 2-point lead. But sometimes you get beat. That's what happened today. Running backs were good effort. They are not Todd Gurley or Keith Marshall. I don't mean that in an insulting way. They're just not. And there's nothing wrong with that. They're very good 3rd and 4th string running backs. But you're asking a lot if you're saying the skill position guys, with the exception of the quarterback, are going to be numbers 3 through 6 on a wide receiver, or 3 through 8, whatever it was, and number 3 and 4 at running back. They still moved the ball effectively, but you could tell Todd Gurley didn't play today. You could tell Keith Marshall didn't play today. And they figured out how to win at Tennessee. They could not figure out how to win today. Now, big picture, does this matter a lot? Was Georgia going to win the national championship? Probably not. So how does this – so in the end, if they're not going to win the national championship, there's only one other thing to win, which is the SEC. Does this change that? I don't think it does. Gators are in the process of getting beat right now. So that's not good for them. If Georgia beats Florida, they'll probably play in Atlanta. That's how it goes. Missouri's got to play A&M, South Carolina, Florida, the usual slate. This was their first legitimate game. They won on the road. It's a big deal victory for them, no question. They'll probably be ranked 17. Georgia will be probably ranked 13 or something like that. Oklahoma got crushed today by Texas. That will probably be the national story. But, South Carolina's sticking around in it, but everybody can't win the East. Somebody's got to win the East, and it's either going to be Florida, Georgia, Missouri, or South Carolina. I just have a hard time believing that Missouri is going to be the one that wins it. If they lose to Florida next week, it's going to be hard for them to keep up with Georgia or South Carolina or Florida. But I don't know. long season. You don't win the conference in October. You can lose it. Now, if Georgia has some, what do you want to call it, mental fart up in Nashville, that'd be pretty bad. But Vanderbilt's pretty bad, and Georgia will have a little bit more full deck of cards than they had today. There's certainly reason for concern on the defensive side of the ball. It's just way too many, just they're not forcing turnovers, way too many points. 5 turnovers in a season is just not good enough. Sometimes the balls are there to be had. They got to start playing. They got to start cutting throats on defense. It's pretty much that simple. In the game, that didn't happen today, and that's why Georgia lost. I mean, it was definitely the 4 turnovers, but the defense is allowed to force turnovers too. And if this team gets to Atlanta, people won't think that much about this game. But we're still a long way from that. I mean, they're not just going to walk over the Gators, but it'll be a different Georgia team when they get down to Jacksonville. I can assure you of that. Okay, Georgia loses to Missouri in Athens. Dean Legge for Dog Post.